Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Juneann Lewis True Life Story. Okay, well, let's see what happened last week. So let me explain. One of the kryptonites to me, as I said, I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. But a kryptonite for me is music, reggae music, calypso music, I guess maybe rap and other things like that. Anything that's fast-paced, I have no idea. And I don't need liquor. When those music are on, it's as if I become a different person. I heard Beyonce say when she gets on stage, she's a different person. When I tell you, if I'm a place and good music is playing, man, I dance, and I just dance to whatever it is I'm feeling to dance and how I feel like dancing at that time. And then, of course, I have to thank my sponsor. I've got to pay my bills. So my sponsor is Vitally. And Vitally is one of those what I call super facial experience. They do have the day cream, the night cream, and they have the serum. So please do check out Vitally. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. So I'm going to tell you this chapter 7, is a deviation from the normal progression that I was going into. And I tell you why I have to stop and bring in chapter 7. Something happened. I did a video back in February, I believe, or it might have been January of this year, 2020. And one of it is, the particular video is a video of the current president of Guyana giving a speech to the nation. And it was a very powerful and beautiful speech. However, there's a reason that I named it, and specifically I called it Why I Give President Granger a B+ instead of an A. And for most people, if they did not have the opportunity or didn't take the time to look at the video, they assumed I was being negative towards President Granger. Farthest from the truth. So I want to address something real fast, and then I'll reel back to what happened. So I want to talk about President Granger. I feel that President Granger is one of the best presidents that Guyana has ever had. Now, Guyana happened to be the country that I was born in. I live in the United States and love the United States, but I was born in Guyana and I'm a part of Guyana and love Guyana as well. So for that particular reason, I started coming back to Guyana in 2005. And let me take you to how I started coming back to Guyana in 2005. For most people don't know that's when I started coming back. And it had nothing to do with who was in governor then and who ran the country then, because as a Guyanese, I loved the country and wanted to take the opportunity to showcase my beautiful country of birth to the rest of the world, which is what I do right now. Whenever I talk about Guyana, I talk about it in such a positive way because people have not seen Guyana. It's one of the most beautiful countries there is in South America. It's a country with so much charm and elegance and has so much to offer, uniqueness within the country to offer. Anyway, in 2003, I'm going to reel back to tell you how I started going there in 2005. In 2003, I had the opportunity to work for a company. And this particular company owns or manages actually Peter Island. And if you don't know what Peter Island is, I promise you need to Google Peter Island and the Meridian Club. Peter Island is in the British Virgin Island and the Meridian Club is in Turks and Caicos. Now, my job was as quality assurance. And for those of you who knows what quality assurance is somebody who goes in to make sure that everything is run as the way it's supposed to, right? That the company standard, that's the company set. Meridian Club in Turks and Caicos, and I'll tell you about Peter Island later, is one of those specialized places. It's one of the places that a lot of celebrities go to. Back then in 2003, some rooms were going for $1,200 a night. Yes, you heard me, $1,200 US a night. That's how exclusive this place is. And I was blessed and had the opportunity to be able to work as a quality assurance person there. And so my job was to go make sure that everything was done correctly and see how the facilities run and see how the customer service is being provided, that sort of thing. Anyway, I went down to Meridian Club, and to get to the Meridian Club, by the way, you fly into Turks and Caicos, and then you have to take another small plane or a boat to go there. You don't just go there just like that. You have to have a reservation and a reason to be there. The island don't even have cars. You have to get around the island by go-karts. and it's all privately owned properties. And the way that they do it, these are millionaires, and by now billionaires. Back then most of them were millionaires, they're probably billionaires now. These were these type of individuals that own these property. Now they lived in England, Europe, they lived all over the world, and they own property there. And when they're not there, what they would do is they would rent it out. So somebody else would come. Airbnb basically is what it was for back then. So somebody would come and people would pay in order to spend a week there, $3,000 to spend a week. In some cottages, $5,000, $7,000 in some cottages. And then if they were staying directly on Meridian Club, then they would pay a large amount of money too. So anyway, that's how the facility was run. When I tell you major, beautiful island, they don't even allow dogs in that island because they want to preserve all the nature, and they have a lot of iguanas, and dogs eat iguanas. So for that particular reason, when you get there as well, there's no cell phones. They don't want you to have cell phones. You go, well, today I guess they can't stop that. Back then it was a little easier, but there's no television. There's none of that there. So mainly you go, people like writers and directors and people like Michael Jackson, those people would go there in those days when they want to get away from paparazzi and get away from everybody. So Peter Island is a similar situation, but it's a little bit more where people can get into. But that one, they were building villas on Peter Island. And this is different than the Meridian Club, for $12,000 a night. Now I said $1,200 at the Meridian Club, but Peter Island was $12,000 a night. So sheiks and all of those, or sheiks, depending on what you call them, from those places would come in there. Anyway, get to the point. So me having the opportunity, and when I say it was an opportunity, and I'll tell you guys how I messed that up, and I didn't have that job. That's one of the jobs where you go like, oh, how did I mess that up? But anyway, so I had the opportunity to speak to people with money. Speaking of how I started going back to Guyana in 2005. So I interviewed some people and I asked them, I said, hey, if you have the opportunity, you've traveled around the Caribbean, you've been to places like this. If you have the opportunity to go someplace else where you haven't seen, would you take that opportunity? And I introduced them and told them about black water, which is our black water that we have in Guyana. And most people had never seen black water. No, I've never seen that. They were all interested in seeing something like that. I told them about Concho Falls. I told them about all of those things, Marshall Falls, all of those places. Anyway, it piqued a lot of people's interest. And so for that particular reason, after I stopped working for the company, I decided, why not take this concept to Guyana, where we have all these exotic things, and introduce these wealthy people who were able to come to Guyana and help build the economy. That was my thinking behind the process. Introduce my beautiful country that the world has not seen to the rest of the world. Anyway, I devised a business plan, contact the CEO of Go Invest at that time. You guys Google it, you should know if you've lived in Guyana all the time who was the person. I don't want to call names anyway. So I spoke to them via the phone, and then eventually he invited me and told me a time, and I said I was coming in. He said, okay. Took me around, showed me where Giftland is right now. I'm going to share with you guys. He showed me that land and said that I can put it there, put my resort there, the experience that I was thinking about. So, okay, that's fine. At the end, I'm going to cut the story short because it's a lot of political nonsense, and I'll get back to what I was talking about. So he said to me, well, the president is going to have to okay this. Okay? So I said, okay. At that time, they had CARICOM, a big event coming up. At CARICOM, they told me I can come back for that, and I need to go and come back. Anyway, long story short, let me cut it short. Because one thing I told myself, I'm not going to hold malice. So they never did my project. They made me, when I come back to the States, they made me again send back my business plan, which was developed to whatever it is, and I'm not going to go into that. When I started coming, Guyana was in a ravaged state. I was very embarrassed as to the way that Guyana looked. I came to Guyana before when my uncle died, but that was for a funeral. I didn't go around the way that I went around Guyana because I was younger then as an adult. Anyway, so I still was coming to the country because my hope and everything was that I can do well for my country. When I tell you it was done, I had investors. They were athletes here in the US that was willing to back and be the front, and the name for it and everything was done, right? For those of you, if you know me personally, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know me, well then, I'm just sharing with you. And again, everything I'm sharing, believe it or not, I've already passed on, but I'm just sharing it now for a particular reason. Getting back to President Granger. So in 2015, when President Granger was running, I came back to Guyana. I came back with some friends, and I took the opportunity to a cousin of mine and met with him. And he gave me the talk about him bringing the outer half, which is a diaspora, and the locals together, because we are brothers and sisters. We just live in two different hemispheres. When we live in these countries, we're still recognized as whoever you are, whether you're Jamaican, Guyanese, Trinidadian, Barbadian, you're whoever you are. You're not the native of that country. They recognize you as whoever you are. So we're still Guyanese, regardless of where we live. Anyway, so that was very intriguing for me, because now, again, I had the opportunity to do something that I wanted to do from before and introduce my country. So when I tell you, literally, I was excited and I was waiting to hear what would happen, I took him at his word. And now, let me say this. I've watched for the time that President Granger was in there. I've seen the things that that man has done. Listen, I know there were presidents in Guyana, and the country was under different control for 23 years. But for the time, from the 2005 to when I came back, and from the time the APNU took over, I'm going to tell you, I've seen a dramatic difference. A place that you can bring friends and people from different countries and feel nice coming to and showing them. The fact that now we don't have to get off of the plane and walk to the airport. You can go through hangars, the bridges to cross, where people can cross safely and they don't have to worry about getting hit down and that sort of thing. I'm telling you, I've seen even the gutters and the trenches and things that have been cleaned up, the different things that were built since then. So yes, I've seen the improvement and I'm very impressed. I know without a doubt, when you go into government, you can't keep all of the promises. That is true on any level. My only concern when I get back to the speech that I had is when I listened to President Granger's speech, which was a beautiful speech, by the way. He mentioned everybody, and he did not include us as part of growing the country and bettering Guyana for a betterment, right? So today when I'm talking to you guys as Guyanese, because I love my country and I'm going to be there regardless if anybody like it or not. But my point is, I want to make it clear, and I'm going to put that link for that particular video in the bottom so that you can see the video if you've heard about it. For somebody saying, because somebody called me and said, you know what, Juneann, it's being said that you disrespected President Granger. And no, I did not. I expressed something just like any family member. If somebody does you something and it's not right, you'll say it. In your household, if your brother, your sister who does something, you'll be like, you know, you said you're going to do this. That's what I address. And even when I talk about Guyana, I talk about Guyana as a Guyanese who want to help my brothers and sisters. The person that tells you your mistake, allow you the opportunity to be able to correct it. The one that doesn't say anything and go spread your name, they don't care. And that's what I was doing, is trying to give my country an opportunity to correct it. So that's it. Now, let me tell you, one of the most hurtful things to me is when I lost that job. Now, I know I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an investor, I'm a business person, but I'm going to tell you that was one of those positions. But having that position was something right up who I am. I love to travel. And the fact that I was given an opportunity to not only fly for free, but to stay at a top quality resort, free of charge, get to do all the things that all the people do on there, all the amenities I was exposed to and I had privilege to use, and eat food for free. You talk about a dream job, that's a dream job. So how I lost that job, when I tell you, I never cried for losing a position before, because most of the time it's just temporary anyway, and I'm there just to do something until I facilitate my own business. So getting back to the story, I'm going to stay on Meridian Club because that's the one that got me in trouble. So I went to the Meridian Club, as I said, and this place is exclusive and all these beautiful homes. So one of the things I have to do is to go to each of the homes and evaluate the homes. And when I tell you, it was a great opportunity. So I went over and I started looking there. At that time, they had 12 homes on the island. That's how small it is, plus the actual Meridian Club, the facility there. And so I went into, was taking a tour of all of the different homes and looking to see, what need to be changed, if something need to be upgraded, that sort of stuff. And so when I went, I was very astonished. Now, I just told you people are paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a night, depending on, to stay at some place for a very short time. Some people a week, depending on how big the cottage is. And I'm calling them cottages. These are actually homes. Some of them 3 and 4, 6-bedroom homes, that sort of thing. Anyway, so I went and I did my review. Now I'm gonna tell you something that surprised me. For the price and the type of money that people were paying, the little plastic chairs, the plastic beach chairs, or that somebody would have in their backyard, or you take it out to a picnic or something like that. Not the folding one, and some of them truly, the folding ones they had too. Some of them, when I walk into these homes that people are paying so much money for, they had those little plastic chairs as eating kitchen chairs or some sort of chairs for them in the house, not outside, in the house, for people to use at the kitchen and that sort of stuff. And that, I'm like thinking to myself, God, I know the whole method of this particular island is exclusive. There's no TV, there's nothing, there's no media distraction, there's nothing. When you're there just to be by yourself and to, get one with nature and that sort of thing. But still, when I'm in a house, I don't want to pay all that type of money and sit on a plastic chair. And then the facility, when I got it, and this is just some of the people, not everybody, some of them is what I'm talking about, of the homes. There were like about 2 or 3 homes that did that, and people were paying money to stay there. And then at one point around the Meridian Club, I saw there was no grass there. And so I addressed that. Now, this place is exquisite and everything else. It is set up in just what it's supposed to be. It's back to nature, and it's set up in that way. But anyway, I wrote my report, because you're supposed to write a report. And I never forget when I went and took my report to my boss, he gave me the opportunity. He said, "Are you sure this is the report that you want to turn in?" And I said, "Yes, that's the report I want to turn in." At least that's to say in the report, I talked about the fact that people are spending so much money. The poor quality of furniture is what I thought at that time that they had. And the fact that I didn't feel right, the surrounding immediate part of it, I felt they should have had some grass there instead of it just being bald. But anyway, needless to say, these people that have all this money that are paying you to review, sometimes people don't want to hear, or maybe I don't know if it's my boss that didn't like the report because he thought he was going to be mashing some toes. Anyway, I turned in the report. He gave me an opportunity. I didn't take it. And 2 weeks later, they came and told me that my position had been dissolved. When I tell you that was a heartbreak, that was a heartbreak. It's one of those things that sometimes you have to learn how to play politics. And I've never been one of those people that, I guess, learn how to play the politics. I speak my mind if something is happening. And I spoke my mind right out of a job, a beautiful job. One of those jobs that people were paying money to probably get, that fell into my lap just like that. And let me tell you, it's one of those situations how I got the job. It's just good for me to be there just for that time, to learn what it was I needed to learn so that I could take it back and share it with Guyana, which didn't go as well. But you know what? There's an opportunity and there's a time for everything. Sometimes it wasn't good for that time. It might have been better for this time for it to come in. So it's okay. But yeah, I lost that position. And I think maybe come to think of it now, I just needed to be there to see that, because I'd never seen something like that ever before in my life in the hotel industry, that people live life to that luxurious. Yachts pull up at Peter Island. People are paying $12,000. They build some villas where it's 24 hours concierge service. You have your own personal chef. Every single thing, whatever you want to eat, you ask them for. They go out and get it and bring it back for you. That type of a level of living is what I'm talking about. And I see Guyana being able to do something like that as well. But somebody just grab that if you get that idea, and because it's enough to share. I don't ever think in this world that I can say something that somebody can steal, because you know what? I would say to God that, yeah, you know what? This world is small and there's not enough for all of us. And I believe there's enough for all of us. So yeah. But that's it for today, guys. I truly do want to talk to you next week on something that's real, truly personal to me. And then I'm going to get to the part of where about my husband in Kuwait. I promise. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. I hope somebody got something from what I spoke about today. I know I was talking primarily about Guyana. All right, guys. Bye-bye.